Welcome, CE family. I can't wait to see how God is going to work through today's service. When you are in service, if you have any questions, comments, or prayer requests, go to churchexperience.tv/connect or pull out your camera app and scan this QR code. Or if you always want to stay connected with us at CE, just hit that subscribe button. We love to hear back from you, get back to you, and be praying for you, CE family.
Top of the charts this week, Backup Plan by Bailey Zimmerman and Luke Combs.
So if you got a fire, don't lose it. If you gotta do or die, dream, do it. If you got something to prove, go on and prove it. Don't let nobody clip your wings. Keep your head down, keep on the blinders. Tune out the doubters and all the closed-minders. If it's in your blood, falling down ain't enough to change you. You were born to be. And getting back up, that's the only backup plan you need.
You just heard Backup Plan by Bailey Zimmerman and Luke Combs, all right? Bailey Zimmerman is 25 years old. He's a TikTok sensation kind of thing. It's kind of the way music is done nowadays. Multi-platinum American country singer, songwriter. He grew up in Southern Illinois. Anybody from Illinois in here? All right, I didn't think so. Okay, that's fine. He's known for his gritty sound and chart-topping hits. He began playing the guitar at age 9, but really devoted much of his childhood to things like riding dirt bikes and playing baseball. Music really wasn't what he was thinking about doing. Shortly after graduating high school, and prior to making any music, he relocated to West Virginia to work on a natural gas pipeline, but eventually quit pipelining. He hated it. He said it didn't take. He liked the money, but didn't like the job. He hated it, so he pursued a truck lifting business with his stepbrother. His stepbrother had a welding business, and they started this truck lifting business, and he started promoting the business through TikTok, which is really how he got exposed to TikTok, and just promoting this truck lifting business. One day, while awaiting the completion of a customer's truck build, Bailey recorded himself singing a song and posted it to TikTok. Social media just kind of impressed some girls, you know. Several weeks later, he was approached by a country songwriter. He's posted this video of him singing on TikTok. He's approached by a songwriter who had a family connection, kind of a distant family connection with Bailey. And he had heard this recording, heard the recording, saw the social media post, and he asked Bailey if he would consider collaborating with him with a recent song that he wrote. So Bailey agreed. He said, sure, I'll do that. And so they kind of worked on the song together, penned the first verse, and the song was called Never Coming Home. Maybe you've heard of that one. They eventually recorded a video and put it on TikTok again. And within a mere 5 hours of posting that song, the snippet of the song had garnered over 1 million views on TikTok. And so that's when Bailey's music career kind of took off. He kind of got the idea that he might be kind of good at this thing, singing. Might be kind of good at this thing, writing songs. So let's give that a try, okay? Bailey professes to be a Christian. He has openly discussed his faith. He closes each one of his performances sharing his testimony of how God has changed his life. He credits God for the success that he's had and for changing his life entirely, being able to do what he loves to do and making music. At a recent concert, Bailey shared the gospel, saying, I believe Jesus sacrificed his life for our sin. I believe he is the God of all gods. He says, you may not believe that, and that's okay, but I have one thing to say before I leave, he says, at the end of his concert. He says, there's no one that is going to pick you up like God does, okay? There was a time in my life, he says, that I was real confused. I did not know which way to turn, but he saved me, and he can save you too. If anybody has been chasing a dream, he says, let me be a prime example that you can chase your dreams. Anything is possible for him who believes. So this song, Backup Plan, is kind of about that idea. It's a collaboration between him and Luke Combs. What he did was he texted Luke Combs this song. He said, hey, would you collaborate with me on this? And Luke Combs' first reaction was, who's this? He didn't have his number in his phone. He's like, I don't even know who this is. And so he figured out who it was, and they collaborated on it and said, sure, I like it. Well, let's do it. And so the song debuted this last year, May 2025, at number 36 on the Hot 100. Okay? It's a song about chasing your dreams, never giving up on your dreams, with an emphasis on not allowing setbacks to hinder you from making progress, that when you get back down, when you get knocked down, you get back up. The backup plan, that's what it's called. Look at a few lyrics here. The lyrics say this. It says, so if you got a fire, don't lose it. If you got a do or die dream, don't do it. Or do it. If you got something to prove, go on and prove it. Don't let nobody clip your wings. Then he says, keep your head down, keep on the blinders, tune out the doubters and all the closed minders. If it's in your blood, falling down ain't enough to change who you were born to be. Getting back up, that's the only backup plan you need. So it's a motivational type song, all right? It's got a good message to it, motivation of getting back up. And so today I want to talk to you today about some of you who might feel like throwing in the towel, okay? You're in a situation in your life that's difficult. Maybe you've been going through it for a long time. Some of you, maybe for years, you've been kind of dealing with this issue, and you're weary for it. And you kind of feel like just throwing in the towel, okay? Just quitting, just giving up. Life gets hard. You don't understand what God's doing. You feel overwhelmed. You feel exhausted. You feel frustrated. It can be so easy to just throw in the towel. The walls seem too high. We wonder how they could ever fall. I don't know if I can take another day, take another step. Just feel like quitting. Your wall could be your marriage. You've tried, and you don't feel like there's any way to get back to the place where it should be. You feel like maybe quitting on a dream. Maybe you had a dream for your life, and it's not working out. You feel like quitting on a dream. You thought one day you could and you would, and now you think there's just no way to accomplish that dream. Maybe it's on a ministry that you had, serving in a ministry some way, and it's not going the way you thought it would. You feel like God wanted you to do it, but no matter how hard you try, it just doesn't seem to be happening. Maybe it could be in relationship to your kids. Now, I know you don't want to just throw them away, right? You don't want to just throw them out the door, but you prayed and you prayed and you prayed, and you just don't see any way for it to work out, any way for them to come back, any way for the relationship to be restored, perhaps, if they're adult children. And so you just don't see how it's going to work out. Maybe you're dealing with an addiction of some kind. Your wall's an addiction that you've tried to overcome, and you've prayed and you've thought and you've dedicated and rededicated your life saying, God, help me with this. You've tried again, but you just can't seem to put it behind you. Maybe it's your prayers for someone to come to Christ. Someone that you've been inviting to come to church, and they just won't accept the invitation. You keep inviting them, and they just keep kind of putting you off and saying, okay, maybe someday, but they just don't ever agree to come. And you just feel like maybe giving up. It's not even worth it. They just keep rejecting you. Or some of you, it just might be life in general. You've done everything you can to hang in there. It feels like life is just too much. It's too overwhelming. You've prayed, you believed, you feel like you're not getting where you want to go. You got nothing left. And you're on the verge of throwing in that towel. I'm done. I quit. I think we all reach those places from time to time. If that's you in any form or way, it's my prayer for you that God's word today would speak to you, would speak directly to you, would give you hope, would help you see that with God all things are possible. We just need to keep on going. I want to start in Hebrews chapter 10. Hebrews chapter 10, if you have a Bible, you can turn to that. You can power it on. It's going to be on the screen as well. But Hebrews chapter 10, starting with verse 35, this is a call to the people of God who have experienced great conflict. This is a call to the people of God who have experienced suffering, persecution, and they're persevering in faith. The author of Hebrews says this, verse 35 says, "So do not throw away your confidence. It will be richly rewarded." You need to, what's the word? What? Persevere. All right, this is a participatory sermon. We're going to kind of participate from time to time. So when I say it's going to be what? You say the word perseverance. We need to persevere. You need to keep going. You need to keep trusting. You need to keep believing. You need to hang in there. You need to get back up. You need to persevere so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what He has promised. For in just a little while, say that phrase, in just a little while. Say it again, in just a little while. In just a little while. In just a little while. He who is coming will come and will not delay. In just a little while. In just a little while. How many of you notice that God is rarely early, but He's never late? Amen? In just a little while, He will come. You need to persevere. In other words, get back up. Keep going. An American psychologist named Angela Duckworth, perhaps some of you have heard of her. She's a professor of psychology at the University of Pennsylvania. She studied at Harvard. She studied at Oxford. She did research on one particular question. She researched, why do successful people succeed? Why do successful people succeed? And she and her team went and researched 3 different categories to find out why some people succeed. They went to a famous military academy to conduct interviews with all the cadets to determine which ones succeeded and which ones dropped out first and why. Then they went to some very challenging inner city schools. And in the inner city schools, they wanted to find out which teachers were successful in the inner city schools and went the distance and which ones caved in and quit before the end of even one semester. And then she went and studied with some 5th grade kids, okay, who were world-class spelling bee champions to find out which of them succeeded and others didn't. These were brilliant students. These were students that could spell words with like 72 letters in them. I didn't even know words existed with 72 letters in them. These kids could spell. And they wanted to find out why. When all were equally talented, why some would rise to the top and some would cave under the pressure. Why are some people successful and others aren't? And what they discovered wasn't what they expected, because it wasn't their IQ. It wasn't their intelligent quotient. But instead, it was something called their AQ, their adversity quotient. So not the IQ, the AQ. And that wasn't expected when they did this study, because it wasn't in just how smart they were, but it's how much they could overcome. Not IQ, but AQ, the adversity quotient. And Angela wrote a book on this study called Grit. Appropriate name for this type of book, Grit. And in the book, she has this quote that I like. She said this, what is grit? She said, grit is passion and perseverance for long-term goals. You need to write that down. Passion and perseverance for long-term goals. That's what grit is. And I like that. It's both passion, meaning you got to be excited about it, right? You got to be passionate about it. I'm going for it. But it's not just passion, okay? It's also perseverance. And it's not just perseverance for a short season. It's perseverance for what? Long-term goals. The long haul. So we're not talking about perseverance for just a day. We're not talking about perseverance for just a week, or perseverance for a month, or for a short season. This is perseverance for the long haul, long-term type of perseverance. We're talking about showing up when it's a lot easier to stay home. That's the type of perseverance we're talking about. We're talking about sticking with it when it's easier to walk away. We're talking about serving Jesus even when we're tired and we don't necessarily feel like it. We're talking about long-term, not giving up, not throwing in the towel type of perseverance. Grit. Today I want to show you a very powerful story in the Old Testament that I believe could give many of you the faith that you need to keep going today. If you feel like throwing in the towel, if you feel like quitting, I believe this story is going to help you have the faith to keep on going when it would be easier for you to quit. The story is found in Joshua chapter 6. And let me just give you a little context. Some of you know the story pretty well. Maybe others of you don't. Before we dive in, let me give you a little context. You need to know that God had promised his people the city of Jericho. Some of you heard this story before, the story of Jericho, but they hadn't taken hold of the promise yet. So God has promised this city, but they haven't taken hold of the promise yet, okay? So God's made the promise, but they haven't seen it yet. Are you with me? God's made the promise, but they haven't seen it yet. After 40 years in the wilderness, God chose Joshua to lead the Israelites into the promised land, and the city of Jericho was their first major obstacle. So you got to put yourself in their position. They've been wandering the desert for 40 years. They kept hearing about this promised land. The promised land's coming. We're going to enter the promised land. But year after year after year after year after year after year after year, 40 years of wandering, wondering, where's the promised land? Okay? And Jericho was the first major obstacle to getting there. Jericho was a formidable city with powerful walls and fierce inhabitants, creating a seemingly insurmountable challenge. The walls were high. The people were warriors. So let's dive in. Joshua 6, 6, verse 1. It says, now the gates of Jericho were tightly shut. Picture it now. The gates of Jericho were tightly shut because the people were afraid of the Israelites. No one was allowed to go in, or go out, or go in. So you've got Jericho. You got these big walls. No one living in Jericho could go out. No one living in Jericho could go in. It's tightly shut. Verse 2, but the Lord said to Joshua, to who? Who did he say it to? To Joshua. Some of you are getting this. It's a participatory sermon. I've given you Jericho, its king, and all of its strong warriors. There's the promise. Joshua, I've given it to you. I've given you the city. I've given you the king and all of its strong warriors. God has already made the promise. Verse 3, you and your fighting men should march around the city once a day for 6 days. That's your assignment. Remember that. They were to march around the city, how many? Once a day for 6 days. Verse 4, 7 priests will walk ahead of the ark, each carrying a ram's horn. On the 7th day, you are to march around the city 7 times with the priest blowing the horns. How many of you ever heard a ram's horn blow? Listen to this. This is a ram's horn blowing. Listen to this right here. This is it. All right, that's a ram's horn blowing right there. Now, if you hear this again, it might be Jesus coming back, because that's the same sound you're going to hear when Jesus comes back. So it may happen. It may happen. When you hear the priest give one long blast on the ram's horn, it says, have all the people shout. Let's practice that right now. All the people shout. Here we go. Okay, I sprung that on you kind of quick. All right, we're talking about walls coming down type of shouting, okay? Can I give some of walls coming down type of shouting? All the people need to shout. Say this. Yeah, all right, that's pretty good. Walls coming down type shouting. All the people give a loud shout, as loud as they can. I think you got another gear in you, but we'll save it, we'll save it, we'll save it. Then all the walls of the city will collapse and the people can charge straight into the town. There's the plan. Okay? So the assignment was simple. Have all the people walk around the city walls once a day for how many days? 6 days. On the 7th day, walk around the 7 times and then blow your horns. And then all the people are going to do what? They're going to shout Shout! I feel some walls coming down. All right? The walls are coming down today. The walls came tumbling down. God made a promise to them. And we know that God always, what? Keeps his promises. If he said it, we believe it, right? If God promises something, we know he's going to come through on it. So why do we give up on his promises? I mean, God has promised us so much. Why do we find it hard to keep going? Why do we want to throw in the towel? Why do we lose heart? We lose trust when God's already given us the promise. Well, I just want to quickly show you a couple reasons that are very, very common why some of us feel like quitting. And again, I think we've all been there. We've all been to that point. And you might see yourself in some of these reasons. So why do we give up? The first is this. Number one, our perspective is often limited. Write that down. Our perspective is often limited. For example, let's talk about Jericho for a moment. Okay? Jericho's not a very big city. You can march around it in about an hour or so. So the problem wasn't the city was too big. The problem was that the walls were too high. If you can imagine, the Israelites were so close to the promise, it was just on the other side of those walls. But the walls were so high, and the promise seemed impossible to obtain on the other side of the wall. Maybe you can relate to that. There are those of you who know what it is you want. You've got a dream. You've got a vision. You've got a place that you'd like to be in life. But all you can see is the walls, the high walls. You see the obstacles. You see the problems. I know this is where I want to be. In fact, I believe that that's where God wants me to be. But all you can see is the walls. All you see is the obstacles that are keeping you from the promise. Maybe for you, it's like the walls of wanting to get out of debt. You know what I mean? Those walls can seem pretty high, trying to get out of debt. And you've got a vision to start trusting God with your finances. And you start to tithe. And you start to believe God's going to help you get out of debt. And you start going to managing your money the way God says to manage money. And you know you're going to be debt-free. And the moment you declare it, the moment you say, I'm doing this, God, I'm going to handle my finances your way, what happens? 3 things break in the house. Right? You just see the walls. Just see the walls. Or you think, hey, we're going to be a family that starts going to church. We're going to be a family that's going to honor Jesus every Sunday. We are going to be in church. We're going to make it a priority. And so you tell your family we're going to church, kids, all right? So you go to bed at a decent hour on Saturday night so you can get up with energy and you're going to be at church, you know. Sunday morning, it all falls apart, doesn't it? All right, nobody's ready to walk out the door, and dad's getting frustrated, and mom's trying to get kids and wrangling kids and trying to dress kids and do hair and try to feed them something for breakfast. It's all going into chaos, and then you're running late. And then you start yelling at the kids in the car, right? And this kind of all this negative atmosphere going in the car, and then you're supposed to show up at church and walk in. Everything's fine. We're good, right? It's hard. I understand. Moms with young kids, I understand. It's hard. It's hard to get the kids to church. But hear from your pastor, okay? It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it someday. For you to make it a priority in your family, to make sure your kids have the priority in their life, that church is important. That's a foundation they're going to build on. Someday they're going to be out of the house. And they're going to build on the foundation that you laid. And I commend you for all you got to go through to get the kids, to get your family in church. All right? It is worth it. But some of you might be thinking, oh, this isn't worth it. This didn't go very well. I don't need this headache in my life. It'd sure be a lot easier if we just slept in on Sunday. We just skipped church today. It's just too hard to get everything together. It's so chaotic. It seems like the walls are just too high to make it our priority. Others of you, maybe you're trying to mend a broken relationship with a family member. There's some things causing distance in your relationship with them. You might even try to connect with them. You might even offer to take them out to dinner, but it breaks down in the middle of Applebee's like a shouting match going on, all right? You tried. You had great intentions. But man, it just seems like the walls are just too high. And the problem is we have a very limited perspective. All we see are the walls. We can't see over the walls. And here's what's so interesting. Remember that verse 1 of our text said, this is fascinating. Verse 1, just let me remind you, says the gates of Jericho were tightly shut. You remember? They were tightly shut. No one was allowed to go in or go out. But then verse 2, God says, I've already given you Jericho. The wall's tightly shut. No one's going in, no one's coming out. But then the next phrase, God says, I've already given it to you. You can't go in, but God says, I've already given it to you. Why did God say that? Because listen, let me tell you something about God. God is the only one who can speak in the past tense before a present reality. Think about that. God is the only one that can speak in the past tense before a present reality. In other words, he's the only one who can tell you what is when what is isn't yet. God's the only one that can do that. I wonder if some of you might be in a situation like that in your own life, where what he says about your situation is different than what you see, than what the reality is presently going on in your life. Because you can't see over the wall yet. In other words, God might say that you're healed, and yet you're still feeling broken. God might say that you're blessed, but you feel forgotten and certainly not blessed. God might say that you're an overcomer by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of your testimony, but you feel like you're just overcome by life. Life's just too much. Why? Because our perspective, our human perspective, is very limited. But God sees the beginning and the end. He sees it all together. It's like the Israelites. Did you notice? They didn't know the end of the story. Okay? We know what happens. We can read on. We know what happens, but they didn't know. Because God told who? God told Joshua. But it doesn't really say that Joshua told the people the plan. He just kind of told them what to do. He said, go march around the walls. So get up on Monday and march on Monday. Get up on Tuesday and march on Tuesday. Get up on Wednesday and march on Wednesday. They did this for 6 days. How many days? 6 days. But on the 7th day, they walked around the walls 7 times. And spoiler alert, if you haven't heard the end of the story, the walls come down. Okay? The walls come down. The walls came tumbling down. How many of you know that Sunday school song? Joshua fought the battle of Jericho. Some of you heard that, right? It's a kid's song. Those of you who were raised in church as a kid. Do you know what's wrong with that song, that little song? It doesn't tell the whole story. Joshua fought the battle of Jericho and the walls came tumbling down. Great. Doesn't tell the whole story. This wasn't just like a 7-day joy hike. You know what I'm talking about? Take a little canteen of water, walk around the city, and oh, look at the butterflies. It's great. Let's walk around the city. Let's go for a walk. That's not what this was. Again, this was more than 40 years. Remember, 40 years of wandering in the wilderness, wondering, where are you, God? You promised the promised land. Where are you? 40 years of wandering around. We're ready for the promise. You've promised and you still haven't. But we're still going to believe. We're still showing back up. We're still going to hang in there. We don't want to give up, but we don't see what you're up to, God. We don't see you. We're still believing. We're trying to have some faith. You know, like Journey said, don't stop believing, right? This is not just a simple story about a walk around some walls, around a city. It's like this was our life for years upon years, just hanging on, just trying to persevere, not throwing in the towel, We're going to stick with God. We don't see it yet. So you got to put it in perspective. This isn't just a little story. Joshua fought the battle of Jericho and the walls come tumbling down. No, this was hanging on, persevering year after year after year. And to be honest with you guys, I think you and I, we give up way too easy. Our perspective is limited. We can't see over the walls, and so again, we doubt the promises of God. You guys, a few months ago, I hand these out. It's a promise book, okay? It's a promise book. If you don't have a promise book, I would highly recommend you get a Bible promise book. Okay, I have a couple left. If you really want one, let me know, and I'll get you that book. But we pass these out because I want you to know that God has already spoken to your situation. There's already promises that He has declared about what is going on in your life. And this book is labeled by categories. So if you're talking about trust, blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord. Blessed is the one, even when it doesn't feel right, even when it doesn't feel good. Even when you feel like quitting, blessed. God's calling you blessed. He's already promised the blessing for those who trust in the Lord. So this is a great way to remind yourself God has already promised some things about your situation, about what's going on in your life. Our perspective is limited, but God's perspective is not. The second reason why I think we give up too quick is number 2, our progress isn't always obvious. And this is a hard one. Our progress isn't always obvious. In fact, I'll show you in Scripture. Look at verse 10. It says, but Joshua had commanded the army, do not give a war cry, do not raise your voices, do not say a word until the day I tell you to shout, and then shout. Don't say a thing. Don't even say a word like, hey, what's up, buddy? No, shh, shh. How's it going? No, shh, shh. Don't say a word until the day I tell you to shout, and then shout. Verse 11, so he had the ark of the Lord carried around the city, circling it once. Then the army returned to the camp and spent the night there. That was day 1. So they take it out, they march around the city, they return to the camp, spent the night. Day 1. Verse 14. So on the second day, they marched around the city once, returned to the camp, and they did this how many days? 6 days. Might be kind of a seemingly pointless assignment, right? We're going to walk around the city. Again, can you kind of imagine what some of them might have been thinking, this frustrating thing, we're just going to walk around the city. I mean, you're not just going to sound the war cry and just knock the door down and we're going to go in, No, just walk around the city. Again, this was decades of waiting, decades of trusting. These are warriors, right? These are guys ready to fight. And all they got to do is do a morning stroll around the city. Going around the block. That's almost embarrassing. Going around the block. Like at the end of the day, you go home and your wife says, well, what'd you do today, my hunk of a warrior? At least that's how Stephanie greets me when I come home. I don't know about you guys. What'd you do today, my hunk of a warrior? Did you kill any bad guys? Well, no, babe. We just kind of walked around. We went for a walk. What do you mean you went for a walk? Yeah, we just walked around the city. That's all we did. I don't know. Joshua's cray-cray. I don't understand. We just went for a walk. And then the next day, you do anything today? No, we just walked again. And the next day, how about today? No, we just went for a walk, babe. Just went for a walk. We didn't see anything. No progress. I have no idea what's going on. There's no evidence that God is even with us. No walls are coming down, okay? I mean, wouldn't it have been really cool if God would make life kind of like a video game. You know what I'm talking about? Like when you get to a new level, when you're like leveling up, okay, you would hear this like level up sound effect. You know what I'm talking about? Kind of like this sound right here. You'd hear this. Wouldn't that be cool? Like you're making progress, right? You're feeling good. You're leveling up. Like at the end of day 5, you know, after you've been walking around 1, 2, 3, 4 days, 5 days, you know, they get some indication that they're making progress. So we're not going to quit. We're going to keep on going because we're making progress. We're leveling up. We hear the sound. Wouldn't that be so cool? We're making progress. Because we can handle the process as long as we see the progress, right? We can handle the process as long as we see some progress. For example, like you can fight for your marriage as long as you believe there's hope. You can keep paying down the debt as long as you believe one day you're actually going to pay something off. You can even eat good if you think you're going to look good on the beach, right? We can handle the process as long as we see some progress. If you see progress, you can endure the pain. But they're just walking around, not seeing any progress at all. They don't know how long it's going to take. Joshua, again, didn't tell them. He just gave the order, walk around the city, and do it again today, do it again today. And then Joshua tells them that they're not even allowed to talk. Why would he say that? Well, I can't be sure why he said that. But can you imagine perhaps if they were allowed to talk? Like, hey, bro, this is stupid. Right? Like day 4. Again, Joshua's lost his mind. Are we really going to put up with this every single day, just walking around kind of thing? I ain't doing this. This is stupid. Right? Like 40 years we've been serving God. 40 years we've been waiting on the promised land. Nothing's ever happened. I don't know where God is. I don't know what he's up to. I don't know if he's ever going to come through, but my feet hurt. All this walking around. This is stupid. I came here to fight, not go for walks. Can you imagine? You know what I'm talking about? Start doubting God. I wonder if he's even going to come through at all. How many of you know that sometimes our mouth can be our worst enemy? Come on. And maybe, just maybe, that's why Joshua told him not to talk. Because sometimes you just got to tell yourself to shut your mouth. Shut up and keep doing what God's told you to do. Sometimes you just got to preach it to yourself. Like shut your trap and keep on marching. Shut up and keep trusting. Shut up and keep praying. Shut up and keep on loving the one who seems really unlovable. Shut up and keep forgiving. Shut up and show back up with everyone else has run off. Sometimes you just got to shut your mouth. You got to talk to yourself and say, flesh, I don't believe you. I'm choosing faith. Circumstances, I don't believe you right now. I'm choosing God. I'm not walking by sight. I'm walking by faith. Shut up, feelings. I'm trusting God. I'm trusting in the promises. Shut my mouth. So I don't know if that's why Joshua did that. It makes sense to me. I hear grumbling. You can imagine what's going on through their minds. Again, these people, they didn't know. For all they know, this is just another 40 years. There's going to be another 40 years of walking. Like, here we go again, right? Another day, another walk around the city. The wall's still standing. No end in sight. You're doing the right thing. Doesn't seem to be making any difference at all. I mean, it's so much easier to honor God. It's so much easier to do what's right and stay on course when you feel like it's working, when you feel like it's paying off, when you feel like you're getting somewhere. Like you could stay pure in your singleness. You know what I'm talking about? Single people in here? How many of you single people in here? Come on. You guys are awful quiet. It's okay. You can stay pure in your singleness if you knew God's going to send you some Christian hottie in a body in like 6 weeks, right? Okay, I'll wait. I'll serve God. I'll do it His way. I mean, you could do it if you knew something was coming, right? You can take the pain when you know that God's still working, when God's going to do something. There's going to be a payoff. But when you can't see over the wall, when your perspective is limited, man, it's hard to keep on going. You wonder, where is God? Where is He when we don't see any progress? Is He still working? Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1 says, let us run with what? What's it say? Perseverance, the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on, not how high the wall is, not on whether or not we're making any progress, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter. Say that word, perfecter. Pioneer and perfecter of our faith. That Greek word for perfecter is teleotos. It means to be a completer, a finisher. Jesus is the completer of our faith. So when you can't see over the wall, we don't know if you're making any progress, keep your eyes on Jesus, because God is using the difficult time, God is using the uncertainty, God is using when you don't understand to build your faith, to complete your perfect faith, to perfect your faith. And it can only be worked on in times like that. In easy times, you don't need much faith. But when it's hard to see over the walls, you don't know if you're making any progress, that's when faith is needed most. And Jesus knows that, and He's pioneering and perfecting. He's completing your faith. He's teaching you to depend on Him, even when you can't see the results yet. He's building our faith, teaching us to walk by faith, not by sight. I don't care how tall the walls are. I'm keeping my eyes on Jesus, perfecting my faith. And what I had discovered in my own life, in my own struggles, in my own moments where I feel like throwing in the towel, what I discovered is God often wants to do something in me before He wants to do something for me. The same is true for you. God wants to do something in you before He does something for you, before He takes the walls down, to perfect your faith. In my own life, I've marched around walls, doing what God told me to do, still not seeing them come down. I've kind of looked at that towel, thinking maybe I should just throw it in, you know. But I stuck with God. Even the hardest times, I kept marching. I kept showing up. I kept getting back up. And eventually, in God's timing, not my timing, man, I would have done it way sooner. But in God's timing, in His way, the walls came down. Again, not always when I've wanted it to, not always the way I wanted it to, but God has always been faithful. I have learned by faith that God always has a plan. And listen, He has a plan for you too. I've heard your stories. I've heard some of the things you guys are dealing with and going through. And I would say, hey, don't give up. Don't give up. Keep on going. Don't throw in the towel. You might be walking around a wall, marching around a wall. It looks like it's never going to fall. You look at the towel. You think, maybe I should throw it in. But no, you pick up the towel. You wipe off the sweat. And you keep on marching. You keep on going. Keep believing God has a plan. Maybe you've been trusting God, you've been praying, you've been believing. You're still not seeing the promise yet. And I want to tell you today, if that's you, listen to me. You may be closer than you think. Listen, the walls coming down may be closer than you realize. There's a woman by the name of Florence Chadwick, and we'll close with this. She was the first woman to swim the English Channel both ways, an incredible accomplishment. in 1952, she decided to attempt a 26-mile swim between the California coastline and the Catalina Island. 26-mile swim. And 15 hours into the grueling swim, a very heavy fog settled in, and she lost her bearing. She couldn't see. And she was confused. She was exhausted. She was discouraged. And all she wanted to do was quit. Just get in the boat. I don't know where I'm at. She tried to keep going, but eventually she just couldn't take it anymore. And she threw in the towel and she quit. And it wasn't until she got into the boat and could hear what the people were saying that she realized that the shoreline was less than a half mile away. She quit too soon. She was closer than she thought. And again, I don't know who this is for, but listen, you may be closer than you think to the walls coming down. And God is saying to you today, you need to get back up and you need to keep going. You need to persevere so that when you've done the will of God, you will receive what He has promised in just a little while. The walls will come down. So keep walking. Maybe you've been walking for a while. Maybe you just started. You take your first lap around. All right, God, one lap down. I still don't see it. I don't know what you're doing. And He says, walk the second day. Okay? I'm still praying. I'm still trusting. I'm still believing. I'll walk around the second day, Lord. I'll do what you tell me to do. Walls aren't coming down. All right, I'm going to walk a third day. You told me to keep on walking. You told me to keep on trusting. I don't see it yet. I'm getting tired, Lord. I'm getting tired. You walk around the third day and you still don't see anything. All you see is the obstacles. All you see are the walls still standing. I don't see you, God. I don't feel you, God. But I'm going to keep trusting. And I'm going to go around the fourth time. And I'm going around number 4. And I'm going around the wall. He's telling me to keep on walking, keep on going. But man, I'm awful tired. Man, I'm looking at that towel, Lord. I'm looking at that towel. I'm feeling discouraged. I don't see how you're working. I don't see what you're up to. Maybe I should quit. Maybe it's just not enough. Just keep walking. So day number 5, you're going to keep walking. You're going to keep going around the wall. You're going to keep trusting in the Lord. And oh man, I just don't know how this is ever going to work out. I'm continuing to trust Him, but I don't feel like it right now. In fact, I'm even wondering if this is worth it to follow God at all. God, are you even real? God, do you even exist? He says, keep on going. All right, God, day number 6. I'll keep on going. I'll keep on going. I'll keep on going. I don't see it. I don't trust it. I'll keep on going. 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 My word to you, don't quit on 6. Don't quit on 6. You may be just one lap away from the promise. Again, you may be closer than you think. And I came to tell somebody today, don't quit on 6. You keep on going. Don't quit on 4. Don't quit on 3. Don't quit on 2. You keep on going. Don't quit on 6. Don't quit on God. Don't quit on your marriage. Don't quit believing. Don't quit praying for your children. Don't walk away from how God wants to use you in your life. Don't abandon your church. Don't give up. Don't abandon God. Don't quit on 6. You may be closer than you think. I know it's hard. You want to throw in the towel. You wipe the sweat off. You keep on walking. You keep on persevering. And you go around the seventh time, and the seventh time is the time where he starts tearing down walls, and the walls come down, and everything's open, and everything he promised comes into play. Don't quit on 6. I love the words of the Apostle Paul in Galatians 6:9. He said, let us not become weary in doing good. Don't grow weary in the march. Don't grow weary in the praying, in the believing, in the trusting. Hang on, for at the proper time, you will reap a harvest if, say it with me, if we do not give up. I believe this is for somebody today. Don't quit on 6. Don't quit on God. He hears the cries of your heart. He is with you. He is working. He is always good. He always has a plan. We just need to persevere. Get back up. Watch what God can do. Would you bow your head and close your eyes? So, Father, we pray today in the name that is above every name, that for those of us who feel like we're ready to quit, that by your power, by your Spirit, you would keep us running our race. Keep our eyes focused on Jesus, doing what you called us to do, to keep going. Again, as you're praying right there in your seat, I'm going to ask for every head bowed, every eye closed. I don't want anybody looking around in this moment. Just give me a moment here. I want to talk to anyone who might be feeling some discouragement today. You've been hanging on. Maybe it's a dream. Maybe it's a relationship. Something's not right. You've been hanging on. You're feeling discouraged. You're trying to have faith. Maybe it's been a long time. You haven't seen the promise yet. You haven't seen the walls come down yet. And you're feeling like throwing in the towel. If that's you today, you need God's help to persevere. Again, with no one looking around. If your prayer today is, God, help me to persevere. Help me to persevere. If that's your prayer today, would you just lift your hand up high so I can see it? Yeah, all over. Yes, come on, lift it up. Lift it up. That's my prayer. God, help me to persevere. Father, today I just ask that you would help those people who are ready to quit, to keep on walking, to keep on trusting, to persevere, not by their might, not by their strength, but by the might of your Spirit living within them. Help them to keep walking, to keep trusting, to keep believing, because your promises never fail. So God, by the power of your Spirit, for someone who is feeling discouraged today, lift their spirits, lift their eyes, help them to keep their eyes focused on you. Give them the faith, give them the strength to keep going today. I believe you're doing that right now. God, thank you. And I pray this in the name of Jesus. If you agree with me, will you say amen? Come on, let's celebrate what God's doing today.
Before our usher team comes forward to receive our tithes and offerings and response cards, here's a few important things happening with our CE family.
Kid Experience is where faith and fun come together. From exciting games and awesome worship to an unforgettable Bible lesson, KE is the place to be, and it's the ultimate place for kids birth through 5th grade. They get to grow, laugh, and build a strong foundation in God. Join us if you want to be a part of the movement in Kid Experience. As our ushers come forward to collect our response cards and receive our tithes and offerings, giving is one of the most powerful ways we get to be part of God's work. Your tithes and offerings fuel life change, and it brings hope to people about Jesus. It also builds His kingdom right here in our community. When we give faithfully and put God first, He multiplies what we offer and uses it to impact lives far beyond what we could imagine. Join us in making a difference by giving online, or set up recurring giving or giving during the service.
Thank you for being on mission with us to help more people experience a full life in Jesus Christ.
Today's service was amazing. Hey, you may have personally made a commitment during the service. Please reach out to us. Also, if you have any questions, comments, or prayer requests, go to churchexperience.tv/connect or scan the QR code on the screen. I personally love to stay connected by staying up to date on the CE social media, Instagram, Facebook, or website, or app. It's been great to share another special service with our CE family. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a great day.